Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the Community Ledger. It is an exciting day. Trump won the election. A lot of people are sad. I am aware of that, but a lot of people are ecstatic. And it does look like he won the electoral college and the popular vote. So the people have spoken. And so I just wanted to play a few clips for you so that we can evaluate exactly what happened, how it happened, and which demographics actually came through. Thank you, everyone, for joining the Community Ledger. It is a new day. Trump won. Woo! And I am so happy and so excited. I know there's a lot of people who are upset about it, and I give my condolences. However, those who are excited and happy, oh my goodness, what a celebration. He won the Electoral College as well as the popular vote. So the people have spoken. The people have spoken. What he said while on the campaign trail, too big to rig, and it is too big to rig. Apparently, Kamala has not conceded. She has not spoken to her fans. I know I watched last night. She hasn't spoken to any of her supporters, which I don't necessarily agree with, but hey, to each his own. So last night they had a rally at Howard University. She did not attend. I did see where they sent out a campaign representative to speak to the people and tell them to just go home and go to sleep, and we'd handle it all in the morning. So the writing was already on the wall. We knew late last night that Trump was going to win. I personally stayed up just to make sure that he won Pennsylvania, because I did a video yesterday in regards to Van Jones being incredibly nervous about Pennsylvania, and he had every reason to be. The black vote and others did not vote for Kamala in the manner in which they had hoped. And so Pennsylvania was pretty much what was going to be the nail in the coffin for her campaign. She was still hoping that they could go ahead and take that blue wall. But as soon as Trump won Pennsylvania, I was like, okay, there's no way she can win this. I can go ahead and go to sleep. And so I had a good night. But I did want to get on here because I do want to talk about it. I want to talk about specifically the black vote, and then really who is the demographic that actually made this happen. I saw this morning a lot of vitriol for black men, but ironically, it was not black men who allowed Trump to win and made it so that Kamala lost. And so we're going to go into that tonight. Or just go into that now. So sit back, relax, get your cup of coffee. I have mine as always, and let's get into it.
Good morning, guys. It's great to be with you today.
So take us inside the Trump bubble last night. At what point did he realize he won?
It is an incredibly surreal morning, and it was an incredible night for President Trump and our team when we saw the returns from Georgia and North Carolina and just the trends across the country. President Trump picking up historic gains with Hispanic Americans, black voters turning out for President Trump in numbers this nation has never seen before. We felt very good very early in the night. And all of our hard work, our ground game, and President Trump's work ethic and determination ultimately won. Last night, the world witnessed the greatest political comeback in American history. And throughout this campaign, our boss, President Trump, has faced more adversity than any candidate to ever run for office. They tried to imprison him. They forced him to take a mugshot. They tried to remove his name off of the ballot. They forced him to sit in a dirty courthouse for 6 weeks. 2 people tried to kill him, for goodness sake. And the American people see in Donald Trump, it is clear, a leader who, even in the darkest of times, is going to lift his fist in the air and say, fight, fight, fight for this country. And President Trump last night didn't just defeat Kamala Harris. He defeated the big tech oligarchs who have tried to censor him, the weaponized system of justice against him, and he defeated the fake news media that has been lying about him and his supporters in this MAGA movement for years.
And so that's something I want to speak about. What does this say about mainstream media? I heard them talking about it all last night. They stated he was a fascist, he was a Nazi, he was a racist, and it didn't matter. So that means mainstream media is dead.
I just know in my heart that President Trump is going to be a president for all Americans, even those who didn't vote for him yesterday. It is a great morning for our country.
Caroline, it was a complete rejection. So I guess because we heard a lot about democracy and preserving democracy. So 2 questions. First of all, have you guys heard from Kamala Harris to concede? And also, since it's time we should do this quickly, to transition to power, have we heard from Joe Biden to congratulate the president-elect?
Well, the last time I spoke to President Trump, and it was just a few hours ago in the wee hours of the morning, we haven't got much sleep. Neither of those people, Joe Biden nor Kamala Harris, had reached out to him. That could have changed very early this morning. I would be unaware of it. But you bring up democracy, Lawrence, and as we saw some of the exit polls from other networks last night, democracy appeared to be the #1 issue for voters. It's clear that the American people believe President Trump is the best candidate to preserve our democracy. And it shows the Democrats' message in these final weeks of the campaign that he's this alleged threat to democracy just didn't work in the eyes of the American people. They are smart enough to see through these lies, and they remembered how much better their lives were under President Trump's leadership. And I can tell you on day one, he is going to start implementing policies to strengthen our democracy here at home and abroad and make the lives of all Americans better and better.
Yeah, Caroline, what do you think the reason is? I know you've gone through some of why you think he won, but do you think it's Kamala Harris? We never really knew what she stood for. She flip-flopped on so many things and then wouldn't answer how she voted even on Prop 36 in California. We didn't really know where she was. And then she brings out these big celebrities who make $1 gazillion, and she's telling us that she can relate to all of us with these big celebrities. Meanwhile, we were talking to people on the other side that couldn't even pay their bills, that were going to the grocery store, and they're saying, Whoopi Goldberg and Beyonce and who else? Usher. They can't relate to what we're facing.
And that was stated yesterday with Van Jones. I played that clip. He stated that he is not a fan of all these celebrities coming out to endorse Kamala because he feels like that's why they lost in 2016 with Hillary Clinton. It just doesn't appeal to people. And for Kamala's campaign, she opened with Meg Thee Stallion and closed with Glorilla. So let that marinate.
Do you think that really resonated with the American people and they knew what they were getting with Donald Trump because they've seen it 4 years ago?
Absolutely. And as we've been saying for a while, you don't have to love everything Donald Trump says to vote for him, but you do have to love what he did for this country and what he's promising to do for you again. And it's very clear the American people saw Kamala Harris for who she is, a phony politician who will say anything to get elected. She lacks the authenticity and the conviction that Donald Trump has. When he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And he loves this country so much. I think, again, throughout this campaign, the American people have witnessed him face so much adversity. It really woke up so many people to how corrupt the establishment is and how desperately we need an outsider like Donald Trump, a businessman who will get things done and who will fight for all Americans.
Caroline, so here's the difference. You weren't there, obviously, in 2016, but almost from the minute he won, it was questioned. They started with the Russia. There was no honeymoon. There was James Comey's antics at Trump Tower. This is different. This is a win in the popular vote by at least 5 million, winning every battleground state and exceeding where he was in 2020 in every county, especially with minorities.
That's right.
How does that change the approach today? It's not, I really did win, the Russians didn't help me. It is, I won, ready to start. So could you describe how that changes things, being that it's not close?
Well, that's right, Brian. The American people delivered a resounding victory for President Trump, and it gives him a mandate to govern as he campaigned, to deliver on the promises that he made, which include on day one launching the largest mass deportation operation of illegal immigrants that Kamala Harris has allowed into this country. It includes drill baby drill and expediting permits for nuclear, for fossil fuels, for an above all energy approach that's going to bring down the cost of living in this country. It includes on day one bringing Ukraine and Russia to the negotiating table to end this war and returning to the very tough sanctions on the Iranian regime so we can stop the chaos in the Middle East. The American people are clearly longing for the policies of Donald Trump. They despise the policies that the Harris-Biden administration have implemented over the past 4 years. And the Harris-Biden administration will go down as the worst, weakest, most corrupt administration in our nation's history. And the American people proved that last night.
All right, Caroline, thank you very much.
So there you have it. The people have spoken. People were not in support of all the illegal immigrants, inflation, anything that was her platform, you know, and hey, it didn't end well. It didn't end well for those supporting Kamala. I really don't think that she tried, in my opinion. I mean, you can't have a group of people saying that, you know, polling Americans and they say top of mind is the economy and immigration, and you say, okay, well, forget that, I'm gonna push abortion. Like, so you're just gonna ignore the desires of the people. You're just gonna ignore what Americans want to see change, and I'm just gonna push abortion. I don't care about the economy or the border. That's not what I want to talk about. And so you see that it backfired. Like, people are like, okay, well, since you don't really care about what is affecting us in a negative manner, we don't really care about you leading. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. And so I wanted to get into this breakdown of demographics, because on social media today, there has been a lot of vitriol for Black men specifically. And it's just crazy and it's ridiculous, because the truth of the matter is, it was not Black people who ensured that Kamala lost. Look at these numbers here. So in terms of the white vote, 55% of Caucasians voted for Trump. 55%. 86% of Black people voted for Kamala. What are you talking about? 45% of the Hispanic vote went toward Trump. So that means Black people, Black men and women, still supported Kamala in large amounts. So how are you getting on social media as a Black woman and trying to drag Black men for making Kamala lose? No, it's white people and Hispanics who were just as disenfranchised by these democratic policies as Black people. And they came together, okay? While we were on social media with all this infighting, with all this bickering, with all this talking down to Black men because they don't want to get in line, white folks and Asians and Hispanics was like, listen, just go vote for Trump. Go vote your interests. And, you know, that really upsets me, specifically with Black women, because they always on social media talking about how they need Black men to stand up and be leaders, take charge, be the head of your household. And the moment Black men do that and say, you know what, I'm not feeling Kamala. I'm not feeling these grocery prices. I'm not feeling these immigrants in my neighborhood. I want our safety back. Now it's a problem. So they're doing exactly what you wanted them to do, which was take charge, take lead, think critically, and now it's a problem. It's a problem. And I don't agree with that. You got to pick a side. Either you want him to be docile, subservient, and in the corner, cowering, or you want him to be a man. Okay? And so those who stood up and said, I am not going to support Kamala for these reasons that didn't have nothing to do with her being a woman, you got to support it. You got to stand on it, because that's what you asked for. You asked for leaders in your community, and that's exactly what they gave you. And still, it was a whole lot who still supported her. But that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Why? Because you wanted 100% blind loyalty. And folks is tired of that. They over it. And so I think this needs to be an eye-opener, specifically for Black women. You need to check yourself. You need to check yourself. Because I see it all the time. Black men this, Black men that. You need to be doing this. You need to be doing that. And they say, okay, I'm going to stand on business. I'm going to do what's necessary for my family. I'm going to do what I need to do to make money and hold some of my money and have a savings and get these prices down and be able to save so we can get a house. So no, Kamala is not in alignment with what I'm trying to do for my family. And you mad. You mad. You need to just fall back and follow our lead. No, that's not working. That's not working for you. That's why the community is in shambles right now. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And you see what the whites did, and you see what the Hispanics did. They fell in line. Okay? They fell in line. And they are the ones who canceled Kamala. Okay, they wasn't on the internet dragging each other. You didn't see white men and white women fighting each other online. You didn't see Hispanic men, Hispanic women fighting each other online. You didn't have no representatives from the Hispanic community trying to talk down to men and tell them what they better do. You didn't see none of that. And they quietly unified and got it done. So that needs to be a lesson for the Black community. Okay. And there is one other article that I saw this morning that I wanted to go over. This was from US Today. It says how Kamala Harris lost the election, the fatal flaws in a doomed election bid. And then when you scroll all the way down, it's going to break down how she performed compared to Biden. It says Harris underperforms among Black and Latino voters. Let's see here. Trump's victory became all but certain when the former president was the projected winner of the battleground state of Pennsylvania and its 19 electoral votes. It's a state that Democrats had lost only once since 1988. That came in 2016 with Trump's victory over Hillary Clinton. The Harris campaign devoted significant resources to 4 Sunbelt battlegrounds: Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, and North Carolina, but she appeared unlikely to win any of them. And the Democrats' blue wall crumbled as Harris trailed Trump in Michigan and lost outright in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. It says here, the New York Times analysis found Trump expanded his 2020 margin in 2,367 counties nationwide and decreased his performance in only 240 counties. So he showed out. People showed out. Okay, so here it is about people of color. So Harris underperformed with votes of color, particularly Latino votes, but also Black votes in urban centers such as Philadelphia, Detroit, and Milwaukee. Harris carried Black votes 86% and Latino votes 53%, according to CNN's exit poll. But in the 2020 election, Biden won Black votes by a wider margin of 92% over Trump and Latinos 65%. So there you have it. So Black and Latinos step back. Now, truth of the matter is, I'm sure a lot of Black people just chose to vote the couch. You know, there are a lot of people who did not support Kamala, but they also didn't support Trump. So I know a lot of people voted the couch, and I can't be mad at it. You know, a lot of people are disenfranchised with the Democratic Party, and they have every right. This is a democracy. You're supposed to be able to choose who you want to vote for. You're not supposed to be bullied into voting for who we say. That's not a democracy, you know. And I personally feel like her campaign was doomed from the beginning. First of all, she didn't have a primary, so she didn't get any votes from any of the American constituents, right? As much as you hate Trump, the people voted for Trump. The people did not vote for Kamala. So that right there was a conflict in regards to maintaining democracy off rip, just straight out the box. Then she didn't want to speak to the public for months. She felt like she was too cute. She was on a high of like rainbows and unicorns and shit. And so she wasn't going to actually hold no questions, no interviews, nothing. And then when she saw her campaign tanking and she couldn't ride the wave of joy anymore, is when she started actually doing interviews, and interview after interview after interview. It was just a nothing sandwich, just nothing, no questions answered, just a bunch of blah blah blah, nothing. And the people were wanting to give her an opportunity. There were so many independents who were like, listen, I'm not a fan of Trump. What can you offer me? Talk to me, tell me something. And when asked what you would do for the economy, she was like, go to my website. That's it. When she went on The View, they were like, what would you have changed in regards to the Biden administration? Nothing comes to mind. You are running on being the candidate of change and nothing comes to mind. And so her campaign was like, okay, that was a flub. So she went to Colbert. Colbert asked her the same thing. What's different about you and Biden and what you're running on? She was like, well, I'm not Biden and I'm not Trump. So there's 2 changes right there. Girl, what? Okay, like, you're just not gonna do nothing? You're not gonna tell us nothing? And then, you know, it's just she's going further and further and further and further down. Now she wants to address Black folks. Now she want to go to the barbershop in Pennsylvania. Now she want to put together a Black male plan. Girl, stop. Cut it out. Cut it out. Just like I said yesterday, the girl on the video in Pennsylvania is like, I want to see her down here. I want to see her talking to people in our community. She don't give a damn about people in your community. You ain't seen her for 3.5 years. She don't give a damn about you. That's proof. That's proof. If she was serious about making an impact in black communities, she would have been campaigning for 3.5 years. Because she was under Biden, but guess what? Biden can only do one more term. I'm positioning myself as a politician to be able to run when he no longer can. Whether he got elected for a second term or not, I've laid the groundwork with the people so that I can build. Okay, I have a great communication and a great line of communication and a great relationship with the black community. So I know when I'm ready to run, I got them because I was here. I was with them. I was talking to them. So I know what they need. So when I put my policies together, it's more than legalizing weed. But the proof that she never really gave a damn to begin with is she didn't do that. She did, like I said, at the beginning of the campaign, you were a non-factor. The black community was a non-factor. She could care less. You only became relevant or significant when they saw that the black vote was backing up. Oh, now you want to acknowledge black people. Now you want to go to the barbershop and have a conversation. Now you want to go to these different podcasts and have a conversation. It was just fraudulent. It was fake. It was flimsy. It was unauthentic, and it was easily assessed and dismissed from those who were watching. And so that's why she lost. And we were not the only ones. Black people were not the only ones who were seeing it. White people saw it. Hispanics saw it. And so when they start going in hardcore at the very end of the campaign and they're like, he's a fascist, he's a racist, he's Hitler. White folks, Hispanics, and black folks was like, we don't care. So be it. We ain't voting your ass in another term. And that's a fact. So they were going hard. I'm talking hard. Like, how could you vote for a fascist? How could you vote for Hitler? Because you are a liar. That's how. So like they said last night, that means mainstream media is dead. The CNNs, the MSNBCs, the CBSs, the ABCs, they done. Because the people don't trust you. They don't care about nothing you talking about. Nothing you talking about. I actually saw on Twitter where a man said his grandma said F Kamala. Now, you know, somebody grandma say F Kamala, you down bad. You down bad. Grandma said, I lived through the civil rights movement. Okay. I lived through real racism. I can live through Trump. But I can't live through hell. And Kamala trying to drag us through hell. I said, ooh, grandma. Grandma said, I'll go ahead and redo the civil rights movement, but I ain't voting for this one. Ooh, do you realize? Wow. And hey, it's a million other people that feel the same. Look, I mean, the Jews, the whites, Hispanics, I mean, Asians, everybody was like, listen, if he a fascist, if he gonna put us in, what do they call, concentration camps and carrying on, we'll just have to take that L. Because the life that we are living right now under Democratic rule is garbage. That shows you how horrible the Democratic Party is right now, that you can tell them the sky is falling. This man is going to put you in concentration camps and like direct a firing squad at you and your family. And people just like, yeah, we good. The mass amount of millions and millions of people voted for this man. He not only won the electoral vote, but he also won the popular vote. So that means millions and millions of American people were just like, we'll take our chances. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think it is definitely needed. I think the Democratic Party needs to just go back to the drawing board and really reevaluate how this happened and why. You know, if you have a mass amount of people stating, listen, we're hurting. You know, these grocery bills are too high. We want to be able to buy a house. We don't feel safe. We need XYZ. And you completely ignore that and be like, yeah, but I want to talk about abortion. So I don't care about none of that. I want to talk about abortion. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. You need to focus on the concerns of the people, okay? And I just love the fact that we do live in a democracy where the people can just buck the system. The people can say, you know what, we good. We're going to do something different this time around. I love it. I love it. and I'm so grateful that we have this opportunity, and I celebrate and I applaud black men, all of the black men who stood against the opposition and the vitriol and the talking down to, and stood on business. They stood on what they believed was going to be best for their families and best for their futures. And they took that. They took all of that hate and ugliness that was all over the internet and was like, I don't care. I'm doing what I need to do as a man. And I celebrate you, congratulate you, and you on your way, brother. You on your way. And so again, thank you so much for joining me. If you do appreciate and like the content that I am sharing, please subscribe and like. Again, my name is Drea Banu, and this is the Community Ledger.